Hello and welcome to this vlog of me doing my very first speaking engagement. I am so excited. I'm also really nervous. Today is the day I fly out. It's Tuesday and I speak Thursday morning. So I'm gonna have a day to rest, to practice, to feel good, and then I do my speaking engagement. So I'm super excited, but also very, very nervous. And I want to kind of talk about how did I get this opportunity, unpacked the training and the prep that I've done, how I've dealt with the mindset scaries because they've been so many of them, and just I want to document it. I know this is my first of many, so I just want to document it and I just want to commemorate on this experience. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking at the Life Coach School Mastermind Event, and it is my coaching certification. And someone might be thinking like, oh, coaching certification, like that should be a warm audience, that should be an easy audience. Yes and no. And so there are going to be at least 1,000 people in the room, and then even more than that virtually. So it's a pretty big speaking gig, like over 1,000 people. And it's an audience that is new to me. So I got certified just 2 years ago. Some of the coaches there have been certified for 5, 6, 7 years. So 2 years is still baby, like that's still a little. So yeah, it's just interesting me putting out my story and me sharing my whole life's journey on stage with a community that I really don't know. But I'm very, very, very excited for the opportunity to speak there. And so I got the opportunity from referrals. People referred me for the opportunity, which I was really thankful for. When I first got the notification that I was gonna be a speaker, I literally passed out. I said, I can't even process this. It didn't even register to me. I immediately felt all the nerves in my body and all the angst, but I'm starting to feel better. Obviously, I need to. We are a few days out. So from there was a process where I had to create an outline, submit the outline, and then do a little video. So I did all of those things and they accepted my presentation. And then I had about 3-4 weeks to really put together a keynote, and I had never made a keynote before. And so I can't tell you how many drafts I have created. It has to be over 4 or 5 drafts of me coming up with something and then refining it, coming up with something and refining it. I created at least 4 different drafts and I landed on something that I really, really liked. And so now I want to share with you just some behind the scenes of the prep that I've done, the work that I've done, and what I've been able to do to get to where I am. So I first wanted to create something that just sounded like me. I think that was a lot of my worry was I just wanted to make sure I sounded like myself. The theme of the event was feelings. And so I immediately came to freedom, and freedom's my mission. Emancipation is my mission. My coaching programs are freedom, liberation. My live event is called Emancipation. And so this has been a theme of mine. So I immediately knew I was going to talk about freedom. And then I just started putting down different ideas and just describing different things. And I came up with something that I liked. But then I showed it to my friends and they ripped it apart. And I love honest friends. Don't we love honest friends? I love honest friends. They came in, they're like, you can't do this. You need to sound like you. So I created another draft where I sounded like me. And so I kept putting together these drafts. And then I was talking to my life coach, and one of her clients is actually a speaker coach. Her name is Leslie. And so she's been my speaker coach throughout this whole entire journey. So that's been really, really nice. I've been working with her and we've been putting together an outline that feels good. So I would create something, I would send her a video and she would tear it up. I would do it again and she would tear it up. And so eventually we found an outline that works for me. And again, all this happened in 4 weeks. I was traveling for about 3 of them, right? So I was out and about for about 3 of them. So we finally, this past week I've been home, and this has actually been the week where I've been working on things and refining my talk. So now we are ready to actually go to Mastermind. So I've been practicing, and I used to look at TED Talk people and I used to say, oh my gosh, how would they get up there for 15-20 minutes with no script, right? With nothing, with no slides, no nothing, you just talk for 20 minutes. Now I know how to do that, which is a skill. And it's crazy because I used to tell myself, and I used to identify as someone who isn't a strong speaker, who isn't someone who can memorize things. I say all the time, I have a terrible memory. And I used to say that all the time, but now that I have done it, it's completely different. So I've been practicing, and I've been practicing so much that I'm now at the point of memorization. So I've memorized my 20-minute talk, which is really exciting. And now I can pretty much say everything without even looking at the slides, which is, I think, a miracle. I think a literal miracle. And so that's what we've been able to do. And it feels really, really good. And what I will do is, and I created a little clip, but what I will do is I will set up my laptop on the ground. I got a portable clicker. And so I plug in USB in the laptop, and then I have like a clicker for my slides on the other one, and I put it on the ground, and then I share screen with my TV in the background in my living room. So I literally like set up the situation like how it would be on stage, because I'm gonna have a little monitor with my slides in the middle, and then my slideshow that the people will see will be behind me. And so that's kind of like the setup that I was able to create for myself. One of the things when I was practicing, I was like, I just wanted to feel like the real thing as much as possible. Because what I know about trauma and what I know about, things not going well is it's often we were just unprepared. Things happened by surprise and we just weren't prepared. That's the only way that someone could fail at something like this, is if they just weren't prepared. So I really tried, and I put in a lot of effort to make sure I can set myself up for the actual environment as much as possible. So I practice clicking, I practice like pointing behind me, but not like looking behind me. So I practice all those skills to get as comfortable as possible with talking and with showing up. And so from there, I kind of put together a schedule for myself. And so I told myself, once I actually had the slides down from my speaker coach, that I was going to practice 3 times a day. So at different times of the day, I would get up and I would practice. And I would practice in the morning when I had a lot of energy. I would practice late at night when I was tired, because I was like, well, what if I get on stage and I didn't sleep well the night before, right? I practiced even though I was tired. And so I just, again, tried to create as many different scenarios as possible. One time I said, you know what? I'm gonna take my dog, Lulu, out on a walk. And I'm gonna go in the afternoon when everybody is home, the neighborhood is home, and my dog gets very skittish. She gets super skittish of garage doors and people walking. She's always scared of every little thing. So she's like a little tough to handle on the leash at that time of day with all those different distractions. And so I said, I'm gonna do a distraction walk where I'm gonna practice my speech, but also while being distracted with her. Because what if something happens in the audience? What if people get up and move, right? What if somebody whispers to another person? Like, I'm going to have distractions when I speak. So how can I just prepare myself for those distractions? So I thought about all of that. And so I just put so much time into thinking about all the different scenarios and how can I practice and how can I prepare. And so I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm a good 6.5 out of 10. That's how I'm feeling, like on a confidence level. And like the mindset behind all of this is I have just felt really nervous, really nervous. And I've been like really mean to myself, if I'm honest, that I'm not a good speaker. This isn't gonna be valuable. I feel like all the shame that people have after they do a speaking engagement, I had before. Like I've experienced all that before. And I just remember, especially earlier this week, I will wake up in the middle of the night being like, what am I doing this for? Like, should I even be doing this? Some childhood trauma came up of some experiences that weren't public speaking related, but where I just felt alone and vulnerable in front of lots of different people. I would say like in my childhood, embarrassment was one of the main emotions I felt in my childhood. I was embarrassed a lot as a kid. And so just seeing how my body now as an adult is trying to like make sense of all of this. And so it's been a journey. It has been a journey to get me up on this stage, but I will also say I had an amazing support system. I'm so glad I hired a speaker coach. I got coaching on it from my life coach. My friends have been amazing. My friends have looked at the speech, have given me feedback like I shared. They've been absolutely incredible. I got my hair done. I got my nails done. Can you all see? There we go. I got my nails done, a pretty pink. I have my dress that I picked out. I got a makeup artist in Dallas to come and do my makeup. I feel good. I got a wax. So I feel good. I feel ready. I'm all packed up. The car service doesn't get here until another hour, so I'm just gonna tidy up. I just sent my notes to my speaker coach not that long ago from my last rehearsal that I did. And so yeah, I'm gonna plan to get there tonight, get some sleep as much as I can. And then I'm going to go and practice for the majority of the day tomorrow, and we're gonna get some work done. I'm just so proud of myself for going through with this, so proud of myself for saying yes, even though everything was a little last minute. And I'm so proud of myself for just trying. So I can't wait for the relief after all this is over. But I just wanna say to myself before I leave that I'm really proud of myself. I've changed and I've transformed so much. I've acquired new skills that I didn't think I could learn. And I'm really proud of myself for working so hard on this. So, all right, I will see you in Dallas. All right, it is speech day. It is 5:50 in the morning. I didn't sleep well. I went to bed around 11 and I woke up at 1, 3, and then 5. So I didn't sleep well, but I slept enough and the adrenaline is pumping. And I have a makeup artist coming, and I've been blasting gospel music to get my spirits high. Funny enough, my mom was also up at 3 o'clock in the morning, divine. And I texted her from the night before and she texted me back. She said, "Are you up?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Let's pray." So we prayed and I'm feeling good. We had our walkthrough yesterday and I saw the stage, and when I was in the room, I was fine. I was like, oh, I can speak to this amount of people, but something happens when you're up on that stage. It feels different, right? Even though the stage is like a foot high, it's not even like, this grand thing, but there's something that's up there. So I know that my work is just to stay calm when I'm up there and I'll be okay. So I'm gonna get my makeup done and then I'm gonna practice and then we're gonna head out. With red tape, bureaucracy, all sorts of things for my department. And I was like, this is not freedom for me. This is not freedom. I knew I had to create freedom and not wait for it to happen to me. When I think about freedom and when I think about making $1 million, I think about them. I think about all of their niches. I think about all of the ways that they're impacting people. Freedom is for every single person in this room. Every single person. Thank you all so much. Okay, I'm back from my speaking engagement. Some quick lessons that I learned. So being up there was so much more easier than I thought. I was shocked at how easy it was. There's something about the crowd giving you that energy. And that's what we've heard with the artists and whatever. But I felt more comfortable up there than the actual tech rehearsal. When I saw everything, I just instantly relaxed and I felt into it and I felt so much more comfortable. So it was like seeing the crowd full was actually so much better for me. So that was lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 was I was so glad that I memorized the whole thing. It was the first time I ever memorized anything before in my life. I didn't even memorize my wedding vows. And I was so happy that I did that because I was cutting it close on time and I wanted to make sure that I ended at least 30 seconds early to keep the show moving for whatever else they had going on. So I'm so glad that I did that. I was so glad that I memorized it because I could kind of skip over certain parts without forgetting important parts. I knew my keynote so well that I was able to edit on the go. And if I didn't memorize it, I probably wouldn't have been able to edit on the go. So I definitely recommend doing it over and over and over again and getting it memorized. And it was much easier than I thought. And then the third lesson was I was just so proud of myself. I felt relieved. I was so proud of myself. As soon as I walked down the steps afterwards, literally one of the tech people, he said, fucking nailed it. He was like, you nailed it. And I was like, yes! Like, I was like, wow! And so I remember being like shocked afterwards. Like, I knew I like blew it out of the park. I knew it. I felt it. It felt so good. And so it wasn't about like what I said. It was more about how I felt. And if I could just go back and do it over again, I would just tell myself that I know what I'm doing. And I was more like nervous about my nerves, but really I just had to sit back and trust that I knew what I was talking about and I knew that I could fill it in. And then I didn't have the best whole conference outside of the speaking engagement. I didn't have like the most perfect experience. I ended up missing out on getting my award because of some communications issues from the conference. For myself, I take responsibility, they took responsibility. So that sucked a little bit, but I tried really, really hard to not have that overshadow my experience being on stage because I worked my butt off and it paid off. And so overall, it just showed me that like when I work super, super hard for something, it pays off. It definitely pays off. And now I'm not afraid to speak anymore. I actually trust myself now so much. It was such an extreme situation from going to like 0 experience to 5,000 that now like I fully do trust myself now to speak on stages, and I can't wait to speak on more.